Hello, everyone. Welcome to Flow Space. I hope you are doing well. I hope everybody is taking time to take care of themselves. Give yourself a little bit of break while you are walking around doing your stuff and trying to get busy, trying to pull it through, trying to see yourself through this moment. I hope you spend time for yourself. And welcome again to my show. This is Flow Space. You are having a time with Flo, and you're at my kitchen table where we discuss about things. It's about relaxation, it's about reflection, it's about thinking about others, and it's about collaboration. So today I just want to introduce myself and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think for me, it's about quiet resistance. It's time for us to focus on how we can become accomplices to things that are good and how we can remove ourselves from being accomplices to things that are bad. So today I just want to start off for my viewers that are in Nigeria. I know one of the biggest topic is the Regina Daniels case. I'm not living in Nigeria, but I heard about it, and for me as a Nigerian woman living in Canada, I think I will say I'm not blaming Daniels. I'm not blaming the husband. I blame us, the society. I blame the society. I think it's high time we as people begin to focus on things that are important. The story behind Regina Daniels getting married to a guy that is old enough to be his father, and it was okay to all the people that were invited. For me, I look at the accomplices. And the accomplices are those that were invited for this wedding, those that okayed the weddings, those that think the brightest and the best thing has happened to Regina Daniels when they were giving her out in marriage. And again, this brings me back to our culture over in Nigeria. It's high time we allow our girl child to go to school to be themselves before they get married, be able to say what they want. Like I said earlier, I'm not, Regina Daniels is right, the husband is right, everybody is right, but the people that are not right are we, the onlookers, those that were invited to attend this wedding, those that gave their blessings to this wedding, those that stood by and watched. The bystander effect has to begin to play a role in Nigeria politics. The bystander effect has to begin to play a role in Nigeria culture. We as individuals have to begin to speak out. If you do not believe in something, say your mind and move on. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be wrong. You just said your mind. Let us begin to hear people's opinion, but let not follow the crowd. Let us not follow the crowd. It's time for us to focus on how we can become accomplices to things that are right. So, to the issue of Regina Daniels, I will say it's a lesson for us mothers. It's a lesson for us fathers. When you are looking at your girl and you think that a rich man who is 50 years older than her is enough for her to get married to, is good enough, then I think something is wrong with the adult in this decision. The adult in this decision making is the father, the mother, and of course, Regina Daniels' husband, who decided to go for a girl that is way, way older than him. And again, in Igbo culture, he said, onye kpatara nkụ ahụhụ, ngwere abịala ya ụgwọ. Ọkwanụ ngwere bịala ụgwọ now. Translated, when you open your doors to things, to everything, whatever you see is what you get. Or, literally speaking, when you go into the bush and decided to get an infested um, sticks, you bet that flies and everything will follow you into the home. So again, to Regina Daniels fans and to the husband's fans and to those who are siding who is right and who is wrong, the only thing we could do now is to pray for them, be supportive of Regina Daniels and be supportive of the man, and hopefully that men will learn. For me, in this case, I do not think it's all about Regina Daniels' husband. It's all about the guy. I think It's time for the men to look at what is going on with the man in this case and decide to tell themselves, do I want to do that? Do I want to go through that? If I do not want to go through that, time for me not to do it. So this is a learning curve for Nigerian men. This is a learning curve for the Igbo men. I think it's more prevalent in the east and in the north. I knew in the north because I grew up in the north as well. So for all my friends out in Nigeria, I think it's a lesson curve for us. Rather than talking about who is right and who is wrong, let us look at ourselves and see how we have become accomplices to something that is evil. Let us blame ourselves for promoting that which is not right. Let us also take the blame and own up to the blame, even the churches. It's high time they begin to preach. I know the churches can do it because during the time of sickle cell and trying to eradicate sickle cell and the time of HIV, the religious institution rose up to the challenge. And what did they do? They took up the crusade by themselves. So the churches can help us here and put up a crusade against child marriages. If the difference between the man and the woman is wrong, I think the pastor have a right to call them to order, call the parents. But in this case, there was money being exchanged and the family fell for the money. Again, I'm not blaming the family because they found themselves in a society where money is exalted. So, viewers, for us in Nigeria and for us living abroad, let us use this as a learning point. I think this is a movement that will begin to speak about things that are not right in our society. So, thank you for listening, and I will leave it at that. For you, for those of us that have younger ones that are getting married, can we please also look at the age gap between the man and the woman? If the age gap is a lot, maybe it's time for us to stop and think about it. So thank you for listening on that. Another area, and now I'm going international, and on the international is what is happening at our dear and popular United Arab Emirates, and that is Dubai. So from the news happening from that I learned from BBC, there was a documentary that happened that the BBC International carried, and in that documentary, it talks about African girls that are being sold to prostitution in Dubai. And they go in and they all have it's a chain, it's a network. And the girls are lured from their countries and they are sent to Dubai and there they are made to work as prostitutes. Again, I think it's our it's our right and it's we have the power to stop this. I was just thinking about the best word to say. Am I gonna blame the families? Yes and no. Am I gonna blame the society? Yes. It's high time we stop exalting things that are not right. When you see a girl who, whom you know doesn't really have a job, using things that you know she cannot really afford. Do not exalt such a life. Let's begin to say no to stuff that are not right. If we as society stop supporting things that are not right, I think our children will learn from us. I think mothers, I'm calling on mothers, African mothers, and women all over the world, as you are listening and you are hearing me, it's time for us to actually look at what we are telling our kids. What are we exalting? What are we looking at? So we have girls, back to the story. The story talks about um, two girls in particular, Monica and Kayla, were thrown out from a building and their parents were told that they died. Probably these are the ones that could not say yes or could not go with what their abductor had told them to do. My heart and my heart and sympathy goes to the family of Monica and Kayla and all other families that do not know the whereabouts of their daughters. But for those who still have their daughters around them, can we please hold them? Life is more than money. Life is much more than money. Seeing your daughter with you is much more than having her dead or not even knowing what she's doing. There is a lot happening out there. And we, as mothers living abroad, living everywhere in Nigeria, we have a duty. And our duty is to call to order these things that are happening and see how we can mitigate against it from not happening again. Again, thank you for my viewers and for all the women. If you have any story that you think that is worth mentioning out to the public, please contact Flow Space. Come to Flow Space, send me an email and my email in my email, and I will be able to respond. Again, we need to begin to highlight all these ills. We do not support evil. We do not support our girls going through slavery, sexual intimidation, prostitution, just so that they can make it. There are opportunities everywhere. Let us support genuine opportunities and opportunities for our girls to do well in whatever they are doing. So thank you for listening and thank you for being a part of Flow Space. We are happy that you joined us today and we were happy to have you again join us next time. But before I sign off, I know how many of you, I know a lot of you knows that COP30 is happening in Brazil. And what is COP30? COP30 is where major countries, almost all the countries come together to talk about our environment. And in this COP30, I have been following the COP30 all over. I started following the event since 5 years ago. And I remember in the COP uh, last year, at the COP meeting, there was a lot of emotions at where we are going as people. And as an environmentalist or someone who cares for the environment, it's time for us to stop and look at what is happening in Brazil or the conference that is going on in Brazil. This conference is attended by world leaders, and in that meeting, they are to discuss about carbon emissions, global emissions. But this year, China, United States, and India, which are the world's country with the highest emission rate, and yet they boycotted it. But that's not even the problem. The issue is that Brazil, who is hosting this conference, is even expanding the oil exploration in Brazil, and had recently commissioned a huge oil depot to start drilling oil. We in the south, or we in the less developed countries, we are the ones suffering more for it. And during the COP meeting or the COP30 that is going on, there was also a documentary that showed the people of Peru, an indigenous community in Peru. Now, for those of us living in Africa, in Nigeria, we call ourselves indigenous people because that's where we are, that's who we are, that's where we come from. But the life of these indigenous people they live way, way out inside the Amazon, but they still live in their natural self. And the institution that is in charge of preserving indigenous people and their way of life have decreed that they do not want them to come in contact with us. Can you believe that? With all our development, with all our light and money and affluence and everything, they do not want these individuals that are living inside the forest to get in contact with us. So they come up with a policy. It's called no contact policy. This no contact policy is they do not want you to come close. They do not want you to come and give them clothes. They do not have any clothes on them. They still walk around naked in their natural self. They are not sick. If they are sick, they treat themselves with whatever medicine they have around them. And the world put in people to make sure to drive us away. Can you believe that? And some of us in Africa, we are looking at developed countries and think that's the best thing we can do. And we send our children to prostitute to bring money for us so that we can build houses, buy lights, buy cars, buy clothes, buy shoes, buy whatever we want to buy, and we think it's life. And now we have a people who haven't gotten to this point, and the world doesn't want them to get to this point because they don't want them to be like us. They want them to remain like that. So, which brings me to the point, why are you suffering yourself? Why are you killing yourself for stuff that will kill you anyway? We have these indigenous people. I believe their name is Mosh Kabir or something. I may not got it right, but they live inside the forest of Peru, inside the Amazon. And the world doesn't want, the United Nations doesn't want anyone coming close. In fact, some people, through the use an helicopter to take a picture of them, they were warned not to try it again. They were fined heavily. So, viewers at home and listening, please, if you think building skyscrapers, building high-rise building, having more cars, having this, having that, makes you the best, sorry, all these things are things that will kill us anyway. And that's why the convention is happening at Brazil, COP30. If you have not been paying attention to it, please pay attention to it, because this is something that no one else will bring to your table. No one else will talk about it in your kitchen table, but I'm bringing it to your kitchen table to tell you that you think you are safe. It will only take hurricane. It will only take rain or even sunshine to do what? To send us packing out of this world. So, friends and viewers, thank you again for joining. Next time, I will be talking about other things happening in other parts of the world, as well as our home country, Africa, as well as our home country, Nigeria and Africa. I call Africa my home because I'm an African woman. Thank you for listening.